tech technology talent continues to flock to traditional cities like San Francisco and New York. But cities with a lower cost of living and an influx of high-skilled technology job opportunities are increasingly becoming the destination for the millennial workforce. Austin, Texas, in particular, seeing a jump into the top 5, according to CBRE's annual Tech Talent Report. Joining us right now in a Fox Business exclusive is CBRE U.S. economist and chief of research Spencer Levy. Spencer, good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning, Maria. Thanks for having me.
So what are you seeing in terms of talent within the tech sector?
Well, the talent in the tech sector is really employer-driven. Employers are trying to go to those markets that have the highest concentration of highly educated folks, but also highly educated folks within the tech segments. And this is driving them not only to the major markets, as you suggested, San Francisco and New York still score very high, but also to some of the smaller markets, as you mentioned, Austin, Texas, Minneapolis, Nashville. And what the characteristic of all these smaller cities is not just a high concentration of tech talent, but large universities that can help create them.
Kevin.
Spencer, are we seeing an ancillary effect going into secondary and tertiary markets like Portland just through this tech effect? Because they provide a great proximity as well as cheaper living standards?
Well, your point is excellent, because the point is it's not just in the office segment that is being impacted by this tech talent. It's all the other segments of commercial real estate as well, including multifamily apartments and even industrial, which is being clustered closer to these cities to help house and then bring goods to these folks. So, but cities like Portland, cities like Denver, in addition to the housing and the industrial phenomenon that we're talking about, there's this other live-work-play phenomenon, which you've heard quite a bit about, which cities like Portland, Denver, and even, surprisingly, Minneapolis provide to a lot of these tech folks, which drives them there as well.
Spencer, but at what point do real estate prices, rents, and the cost of buying reach a level that they don't make sense anymore? And that's really what you saw when the housing bubble burst back in about 10 years ago. There wasn't much of a trigger other than homes got too expensive and people just said, thank you, I'm done.
Well, the way we look at commercial real estate is you have to segment it by market, and you have to segment it by asset type. So yes, there are certain markets that have reached new peak rent levels across several asset types, but I would be hesitant to say the entire market is going to move downward in unison. So the example I would give is the energy markets. Markets like Houston have seen issues with respect to their office segment. As a matter of fact, they've seen a new record level of sublet space, over 10 million square feet. But even in Houston, their retail segment is doing quite well today. And the reason is very simple, because the supply of new retail is very, very small in Houston. So that has been able to sustain that market. And Houston has a tremendous amount of job growth. So to answer your question of when are we going to see a fall off in prices, I would rather segment it by market and by asset type. And we think that because of the tech phenomenon that we're talking about today, about the importance of tech talent, that many of these tech markets have a long way to run.
Yeah, there you go. Spencer, great info. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We'll be watching. Spencer Levy there.